Amusement parks aren't always fun. This has happened fairly recent, about a year ago. Background: I work at an amusement park. As decided to visit with a cousin of mine. One day I was off since it was free. As my cousin and I were walking to ride one of the most popular ride, a guy pointed at me and then looked at his friend saying, "Hey, he likes you." I have never seen these two guys before, so I think nothing of it and continue to go forward with the ride. Thinking nothing would happen, I was exiting and they were still sitting there. I didn't notice them again till probably 20 minutes later, since I was talking to a coworker which I liked. As I sat down at a table with my cousin, they sit at the table across from us. When I realize this, I tell my cousin we have to go. I was talking to my coworker again as I see they have stopped by a trash can to clearly see me. I tell him what is going on and that I have to leave. If they follow, he was to stop them. I took the opportunity to walk away as soon as I can when they aren't looking. We head to another ride to try to lose them. It was unsuccessful. They followed us out of the ride. I'm scared out of my mind now. I started running as fast as I can to get away and find the closest ride possible. I turned my head and saw them chasing after me. Lucky for me, they made a wrong turn. After we lost them, I sat down in private place until closing time. I figured I hadn't seen them for a half an hour. I could peacefully leave. I was wrong. They were waiting at the front entrance. We, somehow, snuck by to tell a security officer what happened for the past 2 hours. We were walked safely back to my car and I have not seen them since. To the man at the amusement park, to preface this, I was a 16-year-old female. I'm quite petite and generally not intimidating. I went to an amusement park with my two friends who we'll call John and Lucas. John is a 6 feet 6 inches dude. Lucas is 6 feet 1 inch and built like a fucking tank. He actually ended up making it into the Marine Corps. Needless to say, my 5 feet 1 inch 110 pounds ass was well protected. We'd had a fun day at the park. It was getting dark, and most of the kids had gone home. We were on our way out when John and Lucas needed to use the restroom. The restrooms were those shitty little shacks, and the one the guys chose was in a desolate corner. I didn't need to go, so I waited outside. John and Lucas hadn't been gone for more than 30 seconds when a stench hit me. I heard footsteps and turned to see a tall, bulky man in a tattered hoodie. The smell was like a mix of severe body odor and urine. I figured he was homeless. I have huge passion for working with the homeless population. So I smiled at him and tried to ignore the odor. "Hey girlie." I was turned off by that, but decided not to let that deter me. I was pretty naive at the time. "Hi. Do you need anything?" His eyes lit up, but not in a good way. He looked like a kid who'd just gotten a mischievous idea. "My car broke down. I live out of it, and I don't have the money to pay for anything. Could you come and help me?" A few red flags came up with that. 1. Why wouldn't he ask one of the many security guards or employees right by the general parking lot? 2. And most importantly, what the fuck was he doing in a parking lot that cost $20 and an amusement park that cost $45? I thought about offering him some money, but I was already pretty short on cash as it was. "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" It was John and Lucas. Lucas, who'd always been a bit temperamental and overprotective, stormed towards this guy. John backed him up, rising to full height. The guy immediately let go and backed up. "Hey guys. She was just offering to help me with my car." John and Lucas looked at me. All I could do was shake my head. Lucas grabbed the guy by the hoodie and pulled him close. "You lay a finger on her, or anyone else, I'll find you and fucking get you." I noticed that Lucas had pulled out one of his pocket knives. The dude seemed to notice too, so he turned and ran, metaphorical tail between his legs. Lucas and John comforted me, reported it to security, got me back to the car, and took me home. I told my mom about the situation and asked if they could stay over. She said yes. I didn't sleep much, but thanks to Lucas and John, I did sleep. I never found out if the guy showed his face again or got caught. Even so, Creepy smelly perv. Let's not meet. I quit right after. I was 16 at that time and my first job was at a local amusement park. At that time, I weighed about 120 pounds and somewhat tall, around 5 feet 7 inches. It was a pretty boring and lonely job. My boss never let me talk to the other workers in the other shops. That's why she moved me to one of the retail shops, all the way across the park, which is pretty dangerous because I have no one else around me. I was standing outside the entrance to my shop to get some fresh air. I saw a guy walking by with a really nice camera. I asked him a few questions about it, since I was trying to save up to buy a GoPro for my trip to the Dominican Republic that summer. We striked up a conversation about the camera and then it started to rain. He came into my shop and looked around, while I was just hanging out at my register. This man was about 50 or 60 years old and pretty nice, but this is when things get a little weird. He asked me what I wanted to do when I get older. At that time I wanted to be a special effects makeup artist. So that's what I told him. He said that he has a friend that needs someone to do makeup for him for this movie. Then he asked if I was interested and I had to come up with some excuse as to why I didn't want to do it or give him my personal email address, which he asked for. I told him that my mom wouldn't allow me to do that, especially with a man that I didn't know. I bet you're all wondering why I didn't call security or anything like that. Well, I can't call security unless I feel threatened. Which I didn't. This guy was very calm and collected, but downright creepy. When I stopped talking to him for a bit, to text my manager, at the time, he walked over to my register and just stayed there, trapping me in that corner. I quickly texted my manager, "Help, there is this guy in my shop and he won't leave." I tried to do that quickly, so he wouldn't see me. After standing at my register for a few minutes, in silence, he walked back over to the wall to look at stuff and pretend to be busy when other customers walked in. That's when he asked to take a picture of me. I got so weirded out. I said, "Sure." And he snapped the photo. I gave this really weird look in it, because I was truly weirded out. A few minutes after, my manager walked in to tell me that we were going to close. I was so happy, but that's not the end of it. It was 9 at night. And the man wouldn't leave, even when my manager was in there. He stayed in there for 2 more hours and it wasn't until 11 when my manager kinda told him to leave. He walked out and she turns to me, "Was that your dad?" I said, "Hell no, I don't even know who that guy was." She was shocked and absolutely creeped out, as was I. I shut the garage door to the shop and stayed inside to count money, and as soon as we were about to leave, we looked outside the window to see if the guy was there. And he was. He was just waiting in his car for me to leave. We had to call some of the other managers down to where I was in the pouring rain, to escort me to the building on the other side of the park. To this day, I don't know what would have happened if I walked back to the building by myself. Maybe he would have abducted or tried to hurt me, but I really don't want to know. I'm just so thankful my manager and everyone else who helped me through that nightmare, but I will always thank them with my life.